New York, the gift that keeps on giving, you guys, because the cannabis rollout hampered by inexperienced leadership. A New York report finds, you guys. Man, Rico, I couldn't have wrote this any better. A New York State review of problems in the Office of Cannabis Management found that 90% of applicants for marijuana businesses failed to get licenses, you guys. Failed. A startup-like culture at the state cannabis agency has contributed to confusion, difficulty, and delay in the rollout of the state's legal market, according to a report set to be released on Friday, as in today. The report, set by a state task force examining a licensing backlog at the Office of Cannabis Management, found that inexperienced agency leadership, consistently changing policies and guidance, and a lack of transparency were among the internal problems hobbling the agency's ability to issue more licenses and help more businesses open. In the review, which was ordered by Governor Kathy Hochul in March after she declared the rollout a disaster, points the clearest picture of yet a licensing process that has been criticized as clunky and opaque. It also outlines ways to clear roadblocks that have helped the illicit market steal the advantage the state had intended for small businesses and people who were harmed by the war on drugs. There are just 122 licensed adult use dispensaries open across the state, while officials say the number of illicit shops in New York City alone has nearly doubled to 2,900. At the end of April, nearly 4,900 applicants for the retail and craft business were still waiting to be reviewed. Some from as far back as August of 2022, you guys. Jeanette May, the commissioner of the Office of General Services, who led the review, said that 90% of all applicants for cannabis businesses had failed to secure licenses, a staggering figure that she said indicated significant deficiencies in how the agency operated. In quotes, in order to make sure that equity works, policy is important, but operations is critical, she said in an interview. And she also says, we have to fix the process. We have to clear the backlog, and we have to get these legal cannabis stores up and going. The waiting list includes 1,200 businesses that submitted applications last fall and spent thousands of dollars to secure properties where they intended to set up shop. Regulators promised them an expedited review, but that was impossible because the cannabis agency had the capacity to vet only 75 applications at a time. Miss Moy said regulators also denied an additional 309 applicants without telling the applicants, some of whom have waited almost 2 years for a decision, the report said. Man, that would suck. The report recommended doubling the number of staff members devoted to licensing, developing a public dashboard to show the status of licenses, and issuing formal denials rather than leaving applicants in limbo. And the Office of Cannabis Management already appears to be implementing some changes based on the review. For the time, the agency is recommending that its board vote on denying some licenses, with the vote scheduled for Friday, and it has postponed a policy clarifying the review process for applicants submitted in the fall. The report acknowledged the agency, which was established when adult use cannabis was legalized back in 2021, had faced significant challenges beyond its control, such a tight labor market that has made it difficult to recruit and retain employees. But while regulators worked quickly under difficult circumstances to get the legal market up and running, the report cited the perceived uniqueness of the agency's work as a significant cultural roadblock to its willingness to adopt processes and systems that have proved successful elsewhere. As a result, the state has lost months and millions of dollars that were spent developing several software systems that could have been adopted from other agencies, the report said. One effect of that was delays faced by those who applied for licenses in the fall and needed to determine whether their locations where they plan to open retail dispensaries or craft businesses were suitable. The report describes how the responsibility for vetting license applicants is spread across 4 units of the agency, each with its own spreadsheet for tracking applications. While most other agencies that dealt with licensing have a single person assigned to each license, the report said that at the time, 9 staff members touch each cannabis application, but no one is responsible for seeing them through the completion. This leaves applicants without a single point of contact to address concerns or fix deficiencies. Instead, they are directed to the general email addresses, and higher up in the ranks, there are 8 senior officials who report directly to executive director who leads the agency, but the bulk of the agency's operations, including enforcement and licensing, fall to just 2 of them. Ms. Moy said she was confident that implementing the recommendations in the report would help everyone involved in the process, from applicants to regulators, and in quotes, "Let's just make sure that we are clear about the work that is happening, and we provide the clarity for everyone that is part of the process," she said. It's a little boring, but it's super important. Well. I feel like New York needs to just adopt the same software that Domino's Pizza has, so then that way you can track your pizza from the time you place your order to when it gets delivered to your door for all these cannabis applicants. But I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all think about this? Really? Crickets, huh? You guys are on mute.
They just failed?
There you go.
I mean, what is the number?
90%.
Do you know what the number was in California? The first couple years?
I have no clue, bro. But 90% of applicants failed. 90%.
I know. This is what I'm trying to compare it to something.
That's
before
a huge,
get emotional with my response on this
number.
You know, it sounds like it's a big deal. I'm not sure.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal, Rico.
Sounds like a big deal.
It's a big deal,
It
bro.
sounds like a big deal.
It's a big deal.
They got a lot of shit. They got a lot of problems. I think, personally, I mean, always hindsight is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They just tried to move too fast, and they had delusions of grandeur. And I don't know, me and you, Jason, were the only ones that called that shit out from the jump.
Yeah, you can look at all the old episodes of High at 9 News, and you can see how long we've been calling it out since the beginning, since Jump Street.
Everybody else was like, "Oh no, they're gonna get it right."
It's New York. They're gonna do so well.
And I thought that
they're gonna be the new California.
Yep.
Right.
even Gretchen used to say they were gonna do well.
Yeah, I know. Remember that? That's why Gretchen still owe me $100 from that shit too. Right? I'm glad you said that, man. I'm gonna hit Gretchen. She owed me a big face Benji. I thought that they would do better than they did, but as soon as Kathy Hochul did that photo op and said that she was, they were gonna have at least 20, but they're aiming for 50 of retailers opening up every single month. I was like, hell nah. It's just not going to happen. And where they are right now, where they have 90, it's another number, 90. They have like 90 dispensaries open in the state.
Yeah, exactly. This shit is asinine.
I just wonder if by the time the last state finally legalizes, maybe somebody will finally get it right.
I don't think they're ever going to get it right. Especially with their little padlock policy. That ain't going to work either. I got a pair of bolt cutters in my trunk.
They screwed themselves by giving that prediction. Right? Be like, oh, yeah, we want to be measured with our approach, but we expect things to happen quicker than what most of you may be expecting. That's all you got to say.
You know what I really
don't
hope
be putting
for?
hard numbers out there because people are going to hold you to account for that, and they had no framework at all. Remember they said that? They had zero framework.
Yep. You know what I'm really hoping for? I'm really hoping that New Jersey's cannabis board will cite this article and go into a Twitter war with New York's Office of Cannabis Management again. I'm hoping to see that over this weekend. Yeah, that would be great.
That was fantastic when we saw that. They're throwing jabs at each other.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yes.
Man.
But fuck the drama, though, man. Just get these people their licenses. People need to get access to meds.
Maybe these people shouldn't have licenses. Maybe that's why they didn't receive them.
Well, how can we set them up for success, though? That was kind of my question. It's like, if all these people are failing, like, what are the states doing, or like what's the industry at large doing to ensure that they don't? Because clearly they don't know what they're doing, right? So what can we do to lift them up? What can the state do to lift them up to help them succeed?
Maybe they could build them a pedestal. That's probably about it. Maybe they could use some of that union labor work to build these guys some pedestals or some podiums.
Jason.
Just saying. I mean, they're not going to do anything else for them. They're going to tell them that they have to sell all the weed that's grown by all the hemp farmers, which is screws them.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of like learning from the miscues of others and building upon that in a positive way, rather than just like wishing more people go through this, because you are just hurting people's businesses. You're hurting their opportunity to feed their families, and you are just guiding people indirectly right back to the trap. Especially all the card licensees.
I thought they were Kurds.
We call it everywhere social, as we call it everywhere. Social equity.
Socialist equity.
Yeah, these folks want to turn their lives around. They want to do the right thing, but they're not allowed to because of the state's miscues. And because they waited so long, you had all these other lawsuits come into play that pushed things back even further. So I don't know, man.
It is one thing that New York excelled in was the was pushing all that business to the trap. All the fake trap shops opening up. They've done a great job with that one.
Well, I mean, look at what they've done. Look at what they've done for the tobacco market. I mean, everyone's out there just selling rollies. You know what I'm saying?